There's a porch in Nashville where Dan Tyminski still tunes his guitar by hand, watching the sun dip behind the Tennessee hills. It's not just any house, it's a retreat built for rhythm, reflection, and rare peace. Today, we're stepping inside the Bluegrass legend's private world, exploring the home, the instruments, and the quiet lifestyle that keep his timeless sound alive. Dan Tyminski's story begins in Rutland, Vermont, a small mountain town where winter winds carried the echo of fiddles and the soft rhythm of banjos. Born on June 20th, 1967, he grew up surrounded by old-time American sounds. While most kids were chasing baseballs or rock and roll, Dan was drawn to the dusty heartbeat of bluegrass. His childhood wasn't defined by privilege, but by sound. The crackle of radio static, the hum of guitars, and the steady pulse of Appalachian melodies that filled his family's modest home. By his teens, he was already a prodigy. In the barns and bars of Vermont, Dan learned that bluegrass wasn't just music. It was conversation, faith, and fight. When he first picked up a banjo, his hands seemed to already know what to do. By 21, ambition pulled him south to Virginia, where he joined the Lonesome River Band. It was there that Tyminski's quiet discipline began to bloom. He wasn't loud or brash, he was precise. Every note mattered, every harmony counted. Those early years hardened him. Long drives, small crowds, low pay. But they built a performer with a rare patience for perfection. Then came the leap of faith that changed everything. In 1994, Alison Krauss invited him to join Union Station. It was a decision that meant leaving friends, familiarity, and comfort behind. But it also meant stepping into history. With Krauss, he helped redefine bluegrass for a new generation. His voice became the calm beneath her crystal tones, the gravel to her glass. Together, they earned Grammy after Grammy, and Dan became not just a sideman, but a silent architect of a sound that would fill stadiums. The world, however, didn't truly see Dan Tyminski until 2000. When the Coen brothers' film, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" hit theaters, audiences heard George Clooney sing, "I am a man of constant sorrow." But the voice wasn't Clooney's, it was Tyminski's. That deep, weathered tone became the anthem of a generation rediscovering American roots music. The song won multiple awards and sold millions, but for Tyminski, the real victory was spiritual. It proved that authenticity could still move the world. After fame's flash, he didn't chase trends. He returned to the craft. His solo albums Carry Me Across the Mountain, 2000, and Wheels, 2008, were love letters to the soil that raised him. Pure, unfiltered bluegrass layered with soul. Wheels earned him the International Bluegrass Music Association's Album of the Year and reaffirmed his mastery. Then came a surprise that no one saw coming. In 2013, Swedish DJ Avicii called. The collaboration, Hey Brother, fused electronic beats with Tyminski's raw Americana voice. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. The song exploded worldwide, amassing over 1 billion plays. Overnight, Dan's mountain voice was echoing through European clubs and Tokyo billboards. Yet he never lost himself in the noise. When Avicii passed away in 2018, Tyminski called their work together a blessing that bridged worlds. He kept evolving, from the dark, moody textures of Southern Gothic, 2017, to his return to roots album God-Fearing Heathen, 2023. In interviews, he admits the hardest part isn't success. It's staying real when success comes calling. Now, 14 Grammys and decades on the road later, Dan Tyminski has found peace in the quiet hills outside Nashville, a retreat that feels more like a homecoming than a reward. It's here, away from the spotlight and the touring lights, that his story continues. And in the midst of it all, his home is a sanctuary as warm, resilient, and authentic as the music that made him famous. Nashville Retreat, the soulful Tennessee home of Dan Tyminski. This is Dan Tyminski's Nashville retreat, a quiet, rustic sanctuary nestled on more than an acre of Tennessee land, where music and nature meet in perfect rhythm. The moment you arrive, the circular driveway curves gently beneath tall oaks and whispering pines, leading to a timber-framed gate that feels like the entrance to a story rather than a property. Beyond it, the gravel crunches softly underfoot as the warm scent of cedar drifts from the porch beams. The house, valued at around $1,200,000, reflects a craftsman's soul, a mix of stone, wood, and glass that glows golden in the late afternoon light. The garden is simple, but deeply personal. Rows of wildflowers edge the path, and a vintage rocking chair sits on the porch, the same one Dan used when riding late into the night after long tours. Just inside, the foyer opens into a space that feels both grounded and open. The air carries a faint trace of pine, and sunlight filters through tall windows onto hardwood floors, polished smooth by years of family life. To the left, the formal living room carries a timeless Americana warmth. A stone fireplace anchors the space, surrounded by overstuffed leather chairs and framed vinyl records from his early years. This is where Dan hosts small gatherings with bandmates and friends, guitars casually resting by the hearth. On the opposite side, the family room tells a softer story. Another fireplace, this one brick, and a large sectional couch draped in woven blankets. Here, he spends quiet evenings with his wife and children, watching the fire flicker as the sound of distant crickets hums through open windows. The dining room is a nod to Southern tradition. A long wooden table beneath a wrought iron chandelier where laughter often fills the air during holidays. Nearby, the kitchen blends rustic charm with modern ease, white cabinetry, stone countertops, and copper fixtures that catch the morning sun. The centerpiece is a farmhouse island where Dan often sets down his coffee and guitar picks, because inspiration here isn't confined to the studio. Upstairs, the 4 bedrooms each carry their own quiet signature. The master suite is serene, pale linen curtains, soft amber lighting, and a balcony overlooking the tree line. A vintage Martin guitar leans against the wall by the window, the same one he played when recording Hey Brother. The smaller rooms serve as guest spaces and creative corners, filled with instruments, lyric notes, and family photographs that trace his journey from Vermont's barns to Nashville's stages. Above the garage, the bonus room has become Dan's personal retreat, a blend of playroom, recording corner, and media lounge. The walls are lined with acoustic panels and signed posters, and sometimes on rainy nights, you can still hear faint strumming echo through the rafters. Step outside, and the Tennessee air shifts, warm, fragrant, alive. The backyard opens into a private paradise with an outdoor kitchen and a heated in-ground pool that glimmers beneath string lights. This is where summer nights stretch long, where Dan grills with friends after a set, or simply sits poolside watching fireflies drift across the lawn. The space isn't extravagant. It's alive, full of the spirit of someone who's seen the world yet still finds peace in quiet corners. As the Tennessee twilight deepens and the last rays of sun fade behind the trees, Dan Tyminski's Nashville retreat settles into the kind of quiet that only true musicians understand, a silence that hums with stories. Every corner of this home holds echoes of his journey. The worn guitar pick on the counter, the boots by the door, the gentle rhythm of life built on music and memory. And behind the house is his garage, where the cars continue the story of the journey and the free spirit that Dan Tyminski always carries on every road. Let's explore his car collection. Car collection. First, his Toyota Yaris. Compact, efficient, and quietly reliable, it's a car Dan bought not for show, but for active living. He first drove it through narrow, tree-lined roads in Vermont when he was visiting family, just him, his wife, and bluegrass music playing through the speakers. The Yaris has a steady pulse, fuel-efficient but soulful, and is worth about $18,000 today. Even now, when he pulls into small-town diners or late-night gas stations, he's often recognized not by his name, but by the familiar little car that's been with him for decades. And there's another car, a Chevrolet Silverado 1500 LTZ, a true American workhorse with a 355 horsepower 5.3-liter V8. The truck is as integral to his creative life as his guitar. Dan bought it after touring with Alison Krauss and Union Station, a reward for years on the road. The first trip was down to the Smoky Mountains, hauling instruments and friends for a weekend concert under the stars. The cabin, clad in leather and wood, carried the familiar scent of pine and dust from Tennessee backroads. With a value of about $55,000, the Silverado was more than just a means of transportation. It was a mobile stage where Dan Tyminski's melodies, laughs, and ideas were born on the road. Dan Tyminski's cars not only reflect his interests, but also tell the story of a man who has traveled thousands of miles to find himself in music and life. And behind those rides is a steady source of income that has helped him maintain the freedom he has chosen. Let's explore the financial and career journey that has created Dan Tyminski's solid fortune. Income and net worth. Dan Tyminski's fortune stands at $3 million, earned not through flash or fame, but through decades of pure musicianship and timeless sound. His story of wealth began with one song that shook the world, "Man of Constant Sorrow," when that haunting voice echoed through "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" It didn't just win him 14 Grammy Awards over the years, it turned his name into a living symbol of American roots music. The soundtrack's global success brought in hundreds of thousands in royalties, giving Tyminski his first real windfall and proving that authenticity could still move millions. Most of his steady income comes from his lifelong role in Alison Krauss and Union Station, one of the most respected bluegrass bands in history. Touring across continents, headlining festivals, and selling platinum records, Tyminski's voice became the backbone of a band that consistently filled arenas and dominated charts. Each album, especially Paper Airplane, which topped both the U.S. country and bluegrass charts, brought in six-figure payouts from record sales, publishing, and tour revenue. But the biggest leap in his career came from a place no one expected: the dance floor, not the barn stage. In 2013, Tyminski lent his voice to Avicii's "Hey Brother," a cross-genre phenomenon that hit #1 in 5 countries. The collaboration earned him around $500,000 in royalties, licensing, and streaming income. A wave of global recognition that carried his voice far beyond the Appalachian Hills, echoing through clubs, radios, and award stages around the world. His solo albums, "Carry Me Across the Mountain," "Wheels," and "Southern Gothic," added another $250,000 to $400,000 in revenue through touring, streaming, and publishing. They weren't blockbuster projects, but each one strengthened his legacy. Personal works of art built with honesty, heart, and precision. That steady devotion to music built not just his reputation, but also the quiet life he treasures today. His $1,200,000 Nashville retreat stands as his truest asset, a peaceful home surrounded by trees where the scent of cedar meets the echo of guitars at dusk. It's not luxury for show, but comfort for the soul. The sound of success played softly, like a song that never ends. Dan Tyminski's wealth isn't about excess. It's about endurance. About a voice that carried the spirit of American roots through generations, turning pure artistry into a life of quiet abundance and lasting resonance. Beyond the numbers and success, Dan Tyminski has always believed that real wealth comes from giving back. His journey of generosity reflects the same sincerity that defines his music: quiet, steady, and full of heart. Philanthropy. His first major effort came in 2005 when he helped raise over $250,000 for the Musicians Foundation, supporting bluegrass artists who had lost their homes and instruments in Hurricane Katrina. Tyminski not only performed for free, but also donated $50,000 of his own savings to rebuild studios and buy instruments for musicians across Louisiana and Mississippi. In 2010, he partnered with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, performing a private acoustic set for a terminally ill teenager named Samuel in Nashville. That single evening grew into an annual benefit concert that has, to date, raised more than $400,000 for the organization. Dan calls it his favorite gig of the year, often bringing his bandmates to perform and personally covering all production costs, so every dollar goes to the children. Another cause close to his heart is St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. After visiting the Memphis facility in 2014, Tyminski became one of its recurring donors, contributing $10,000 annually and organizing fan-driven fundraising campaigns at his shows. He often invites families from the hospital to attend his performances free of charge, giving them moments of joy amid hardship. In 2020, during the pandemic, when tours were canceled and musicians everywhere struggled, Dan co-founded the Bluegrass Relief Fund, helping performers who lost their income. Within months, the initiative distributed over $120,000 in emergency grants. Most of it came from fan donations, but Tyminski quietly matched the total with his own funds, another $120,000, so that every artist could stay afloat. His giving reflects the same quiet harmony found in his music, humble, sincere, and deeply human. And that spirit carries into his personal life, where simplicity, family, and peace define his days away from the stage. Personal life. These days, Dan Tyminski lives a life that feels grounded, deliberate, and quietly joyful. The kind of rhythm only a man who's spent decades on the road can truly appreciate. He divides his time between his peaceful country home, surrounded by woods and long stretches of open land, and Nashville, where music still keeps his days alive. Mornings usually start the same way. A strong cup of coffee on the porch, the sound of birds echoing through the trees, and that calm stillness before the day begins. It's here, in the quiet, that he finds inspiration, a melody humming in his head long before he touches a guitar. Though Tyminski keeps his private life largely away from the spotlight, he often mentions his wife as his constant companion, someone who grounds him when fame or travel threatens to pull him too far from home. Their relationship feels steady, built on years of understanding and faith. His circle of friends remains small and tight-knit, mostly musicians and longtime collaborators. Among them is Ira Dean, a songwriter who co-wrote the title track of his album God-Fearing Heathen. Tyminski describes Dean as the guy who always knows what I'm trying to say before I say it, a friendship that reflects both his humor and his honesty. When he's not performing or recording, Dan's energy turns toward a few simple pleasures that define his current life. One of them is foosball, not just as a pastime, but as a serious passion. In 2024, he and his close friend Tag Leon even won a professional tournament in Nashville. He also plays golf regularly, often joining charity tournaments across Tennessee and North Carolina, enjoying the blend of sport, nature, and giving back. These small competitions have become his way of staying social and lighthearted, a contrast to the intensity of touring. Afternoons are often spent rehearsing with his new band, which he calls the most mature group of musicians I could ever surround myself with. Together, they refine songs that blend the soul of bluegrass with the wisdom of a man who has lived every note he sings. Evenings, when he's home, are his slow hours, the time for a good cigar, a quiet drink, maybe a game of foosball in his music room. Sometimes, when the air is still and the world outside his window feels endless, he picks up his guitar and plays, not for an audience, but for himself. In recent months, his travels have revolved around his God-Fearing Heathen tour, from intimate bluegrass festivals like Rocky Grass 2024 to acoustic sets across the South. But no matter how far he goes, Tyminski always returns to that same rural comfort. A house filled with instruments, laughter from friends, and the faint smell of cedar in the evening breeze. It's a life that mirrors his music, honest, rooted, and deeply human. His life today is not about chasing fame, but protecting peace. The kind found in long drives through the countryside, in family dinners after tour seasons, and in quiet moments when music becomes prayer. Through every song, every stage, and every act of kindness, Tyminski has proven that greatness doesn't need to shout. It simply endures. If you've enjoyed stepping inside Dan Tyminski's quiet Nashville world, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and comment below which part of his story, his home, his music, or his heart, inspired you the most.